And I want to welcome you to another episode of Beyond the Surface Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Wanda J. Evans-Brewer. And today I want to talk about helping your children assimilate. Okay? There are many of us who travel back to the continent and we travel back with children. A lot of the conversation is centered around land and Accra and nightlife and shopping and the market and dating, but you don't hear as much about children and their ability to mix into the dominant society, the dominant culture. So this conversation was inspired by a friend of mine who just on Facebook put out a post. And what she said is, I say all this to say, it won't help your youth if they're isolated and can't assimilate. It's a big problem with repat youth. So I have to agree with her that is a major, major concern, how well you allow your children to engage with the dominant culture. But I also understand repat's fears because we're coming from a culture where what used to be nice communities ran by, with block clubs and engaged adults, and the adults were pretty much in leadership. They were safe communities. Just the standard stuff went on. Some fights here and there, some name calling. It's always a boy that got a girl pregnant kind of thing, but nothing where it was just out of control. That now our communities are pretty much out of control. Many of them are very, very dangerous, are drug and gang riddled. And the respect for elders is depleted, is gone, is very, very low, rare to see on a consistent basis. So when you move to another places, we're carrying a lot of scars and wounds and sores and fear from that. And you get to Africa, and which if you're in Ghana is a very, very peaceful nation. You still carry concern. So let me say what assimilation is, because for people who don't necessarily know what it means to assimilate, that probably would help. Okay, assimilation is the process where individuals or groups of differing ethnic heritage are absorbed into the dominant culture of a society. So an example of that would be the changing the way you dress, some of your behaviors, allowing your body to begin to accept the process of food. That would be an example of assimilating, and also language. So, yeah, she's giving great advice about you're not helping your youth by isolating them. Many people come back to the continent, and the first thing they do is they get in gated communities. Such gated communities exist like over in Prom. These are people who have found either renting a house or they built a house, and these big walls are put up, and it's a gated fence, and it has to be unlocked or someone has to come open it for you to enter and exit. And so that cuts off the ability to kind of just engage freely. So you never just see your neighbor and can walk over, or a kid riding past. And a lot of it you don't even see what's going on with the community because you're gated off. And I guess to a certain degree, if I'm an elder and I've come here, I've retired, I'm a retiree, and I'm just, trying to finish out the last years of my life with some joy and some grace and some peace, I get it. But if you have children, then you cut off the ability for them to socialize. And so people that's coming here, whether you're expatriates or repats, whether you're just trying to figure out if you want to be a pioneer and do a couple of years, you do have to kind of already have in mind a social, emotional plan for your children. So for me and my friend who posted, I put my daughter in school. She goes to school in Timma Newtown. She goes to a private school that it functions as a public school, a Jiri preparatory school. It's no special bells or whistles with it. It's not an American school. It doesn't have any special orientation. It's just a neighborhood school. And I placed her in that school because her sister mom, who I had talked to, interviewed, I had a soft spot for her upon meeting her. I thought she would be a good spiritual match for my daughter, works at the school. And so I was careful that I wanted Gia to be able to be about and engage, but I didn't want her not to know anybody. And the anybody that she knew, I wanted them to have some level of maturity where they could assess her personality and her ways and work with her. Because the reality is she is a black girl from America. And she is specifically from the Midwest. And she's in a house where it's the grandmother and the mother that she exchanges the most energy with. So she's a little bit of an old soul. I wanted someone that understood the background, the backstory of her. So I placed her there. Now, by placing her there, that meant, because I'm living in Pone, which is just outside of Timma. So it's about a 15, 20-minute ride in a car. That meant she had to stay in Timma Newtown. Timma Newtown is full of energy. It's like it halfway don't sleep. Lots of people, lots of things going on. And so she gets out and about and has to maneuver over there. When I brought her here, she couldn't even count money well. Now she counts money well. She thinks in money. She feels good to go buy things and stretch her legs. But her life is very basic. She uses the public shower. There's a public toilet because they don't have a bathroom. They're living a very basic life, and I give a certain amount of income every week to that family. And she goes to school, and she's been engaging with those youth over there. She is the only American girl there. And so this is, she was there 4 months, and now she's been a full year there. And so they know Gia, and Gia knows them. She's had her first fights, her first crushes. She's had her disappointments, her friendship breakups. She's had great celebratory experiences. She's been able to be, she's lost a close friend. There was a woman there that she considered a friend who was a shop owner who died, and I attended that funeral with her. But then she's also been able to go to a cousin's baby naming ceremony, and she's had gifts given to her. She's giving, like, she is living in Timma Newtown. And part of what's coming from her experience there is that her language, which that community speaks Ga, she's among the Ga, her Ga is amazing. So instead of having, which she's getting the standard teaching in school because her sister mom teaches Ga and French, but she also is getting just that community practice. So she understands when she's hearing a little bit of pidgin, and she also understands when she's hearing pure Ga. She knows some things about their social ways, how they meal amongst each other, the elders. They've come to learn some things about her. But what I love is when we walk through the community, people wave, they speak, they say hello. When she's in a jam, she knows what elders to talk to. There are certain people that she doesn't talk to. She's able to identify the people that they consider to be mentally ill. She's able to identify the ones who are inebriated. Like, it is a full community experience. So I'm always worried about her, but I'm never really worried about her because I know that at least there is a whole community beyond me that work with her. So she's back with me every weekend. And then she has to go through the practice of Pone, where I'm at, because sometimes she wants to kind of just stay in the apartment. It's like, no, you need to go out. You need to meal among this community too. I've established a park here. I have my cafe here. These people know your mom. They know your dad. They know Isaac. You go out and you step out, and when you want to walk and go get a treat, when you want to go do the things that you want to do, you go and hang with the young people. So the isolation doesn't give a young person the opportunity to have the experiences I'm describing with Gia. But I won't tell you that they're easy, because you do have to let go of the fear. Occasionally, she has to get a ride. They have to get a car to school when they're running late. And the first time I learned that was a practice, I almost had a heart attack, because I kept imagining What if the car with this American girl keeps driving? What if they kidnap my daughter? And then when we got to the 150th time of it, I had let it go because it's a standard practice that many people do here, and they tend to do it in groups. So part of her growing up and my growing up here and us embracing Ghana completely is getting over the isolation. At some point, you have to let go and you have to let God. You have to believe that when you bought into the concept of it takes a village to raise a child, now you have to put your mind and your practice to it. Okay, it's easy to quote that little script, that little aphorism, and not live up to it. If you really think it takes a village to raise a child, part of what you have to do is learn to loosen up some, and allow the youth to assimilate, and they'll take you further than you would ever have gone. She's going to go further than me, understand more than me. And I told her, I said, Gia, I want you to master your guy because I need you to be my translator. I need you right by my side as my translator, being a leader with me instead of just the best travel buddy ever. Okay, that's my thought for today. And until we chat again, be safe in God's grace.